Om Sahanā-Vavatu, Sahanā-Bhunaktu, Saha Vīryam, Karavā-vahai, Tejas, Vinā, Vadhīta, Mastu, Vidvishā-Vahai. Om Shānti, Shānti, Shāntihi. And below Sri Sivananda Saraswati ki, and for all the saints and sages of all the traditions. Om. Good morning. Hari Om Tat Sat. Okay, we pick up. Yes. Yes, I know you're waiting. Chapter 4. The functions of thought power. This is really the end of the philosophical discussion, although he'll keep bringing these points back. So, last couple of days, yes, dear. Okay. We had some discussion from the teaching, the introduction of Bhagavad Gita, Holy Gita from Swami Chinmayananda on mind. And then I know yesterday had some discussion about Dharma, which was a beautiful discussion. So we go back to thought power. And the purpose of that discussion on and reading from Swami Chinmayananda is really another way, complementary way of looking at mind and the function of mind. We go back and forth some, although we're consistent in this. The name for mind as a function is antakarana, and the mind includes three aspects. What we call subconscious mind, what we call conscious mind, and then ego, the feeling of self or the identity. Swami Premananda used to say the business card. What's your business card say? And that's really that's the ego identification. So if you have a card, what does it say? Doctor, lawyer, housemaker, whatever, the identity. And those three are functioning together. Here in thought power, really Swami Sivananda is not exploring that detail. He's working with function of thought, which really has to do with the three. The habitual nature, of course, is the subconscious, the ratioinating faculty, the how do we work things out and how do we change things is the conscious mind. And of course, his focus is really on using the conscious mind, that faculty, to look at the identity that you carry. What business card do you carry? Know it or not, you carry a card, and what is it? I'm an angry person. Okay, that's the card you carry. I'm a hopeful person. That's the card you carry. So whatever it is. And when we were talking about, and he's done this twice, but we keep bringing it up. Sow an action, reap a tendency. Sow a tendency, reap a habit. Sow a habit, reap a character. And sow a character and reap a destiny. The person is as the character is. It's not different. The person is not the body. The body is an appearance of the character, the way the character appears. But when we interact, of course, remembering that the person is the persona, it's the mask that we're wearing. And the mask starts with the feeling of being separate and comes out. So whatever is your identity is the mask. And from that identity is how you think, how you desire, what your intent is, for what purpose do you do, for what purpose do you desire, what is it that you're trying to fulfill, all of this. And then the thoughts and the way that we speak and the way that we act, this is all the person. And it's made of really these three aspects of mind. So, and 2 days ago, we shared the story of Ratnakar. Do we remember? You weren't here yet. Have you heard the story of Ratnakar? Okay, we're not doing it again this morning, but it's a good story. So sometime, maybe before you go, we'll make a point of discussing the story of Ratnakar. what was the theme of the story of Ratnakar? So somebody just cut to the chase. Yeah, just cut to the chase in the story.
I would say redemption.
Redemption is the theme. Redemption is the theme. So Ratnakar was an absolute terror. He was a highwayman, murderer. He was the scourge of the forest, this particular part of the forest. And simply with transformation of thought, he became a great sage. In fact, the truth of the matter is he didn't actually become something. He disappeared. That's really it. He disappeared. He was no longer after a point, and sage Valmiki rose from the dust, as it were, or rose from the mantra. So, okay, we continue. And that's related to destiny and how thought power is creating our destiny. And through these steps. What are the actions that we take? What actions do we choose to take? What do we choose to desire? What intention do we choose? All of this. And then acting from that, it becomes habitual, whatever it is. The only difference between the saints and the common person is that the saints have good habits. In the person. And what their best habit is to remember who they are and to remember who's in charge. Yes? We call that right knowledge in Raja Yoga Sutra. That's their best habit. It's not to forget. It's to stay in that place of remembering. And of course, to be virtuous, to act out, to think, to offer virtuous thoughts and virtuous words and virtuous actions. And there's no difference. Then there's no difference. Fundamentally, there's no difference between the saints and the rest of us. We're made of the same stuff. There's no difference. The only difference is the thought nature. And that's it. And that's important to know. It's important to recognize from so many different perspectives. And Swami Sivananda continues here in the discussion. Really, thought is everything. He says thoughts cause physiological disorders. And we were having, in some of our Sangha, in fact, the question you asked a few days ago related to thought in the body, and that if the mental disease is cured, if the mental state of disease is resolved, the physical state is, and we saw it, and it's just such a beautiful discussion, and a number of people in our Sangha who joined online have made comments about that discussion as well. So, and here Swami Sivananda talks a little bit more about how it happens. He says, every change in thought makes a vibration in your mental body, and this, when transmitted to the physical body, causes activity in the nervous matter of your brain. This activity in the nervous cells causes many electrical and chemical changes in them, and it is thought activity which causes these changes. Intense passion, hatred, long-standing bitter jealousy, corroding anxiety, fits of hot temper actually destroy the cells of the body and induce diseases of the heart, liver, kidneys, spleen, and stomach. And these diseases, of course, in this time are very much on the rise. Heart disease, very much so, along with anxiety and anger. And so it's all related. These thought patterns that he's talking about, intense passion, hatred, long-standing bitter jealousy, corroding anxiety, fits of hot temper, etc. These are the great diseases in the mind, and they become the great diseases in the body. Does that make sense? So when you see those tendencies, when you have those tendencies, you must root them out at all cost. Don't be angry about it. Just use every tool you can use. Have firm resolve about it. Recognize what happens and say, this can't be me. This can't be me, right? And I'm given this opportunity, this situation, in order to work it out. And so this is my life's work, is to work it out. Just like this. And have a positive attitude about it, and you'll do it. Oh. Because it works the other way too. When the thoughts are generous, well-wishing, sattvic, compassionate, then the physical diseases are melting away until finally there's no disease, which was the point of the discussion the other day. And then thought power creates the environment. He makes this point. He says, it's often said that man is the result of his environmental forces. This is not true. We cannot believe this because the facts always prove the contrary. You know, the greatest people, the ones that we call the greatest people, have come from what we would call terrible circumstances. Some of the greatest transformations are the prison transformations, where someone is surrounded by criminals, for goodness sakes. So, and criminal thought and all of this. Yeah. So he makes the point that it's not the environment that shapes us, it's actually the choices that we make, the thoughts that we think that shape the environment. It's the other way. It says, many who have been born in the slums and filthy surroundings have risen to the highest status in the world. They've won laurels of fame and distinguished themselves in politics, literature, and poetry. They've become brilliant geniuses and beacon lights of the world. And how do you account for this? Maya Angelou is one of the names that just comes to mind. And if you check out her story, you'll be inspired. And he shares some stories that we wouldn't necessarily relate to because it's a different time, but the stories are here with us now. So, of course, a while back, Gandhi, but there's so many. He says every person is born with his samskaras. So the samskaras, the prior events, prior circumstances, but also the vasanas, the tendencies are there. And you see it with Tao. This is an example of this. He says, no one is a tabula rasa. No one is a clean slate. No one comes in with a clean slate. So everyone comes in with tendencies, desires already, and a course, a direction, thought direction, thought culture. He says, the mind contains the impressions of thoughts and actions of the prior births. And samskaras are the latent potentialities. These good samskaras are valuable assets for a person. Even though she is placed in unfavorable environments, these samskaras give her protection from extraneous, undesirable, hostile influences. They help this growth and evolution. And so that we recognize in it, and with Tao, it's important to know this human birth is a mixed birth. So they're both. So your role here is cultivating and helping him to bring forward those that are beneficial and uplifting, and to transcend, to go beyond those that are very, very limited and base. So, and really for each of us, that's our work. The tendencies are here, but they're not our destiny. We're constantly crafting the destiny. So he says, miss not any opportunity. And when we recognize this, we get what Peace Pilgrim's saying when she says, if you knew the power of your thoughts, you'd never think a negative thought again, right? Recognize our potential and recognize the urgency of it as well. The need and the urgency of it. It says, and avail yourself of all opportunities. Every opportunity is meant for your uplift and development. If you see a sick man lying down on a roadside in helpless condition, take him on your shoulders or vehicle to the nearest hospital. Nurse him. Give him hot milk or tea or coffee. Shampoo his legs with divine bhava. Feel the all-pervading, all-permeating, interpenetrating, indwelling God in him. See divinity in the glow in his eyes, in his cry, in his breath, in his pulsation and motion of his lungs. God has given this opportunity for you to develop mercy and love, to purify your heart, and to remove grina, hatred and jealousy. Sometimes if you're very timid, God will place you in such circumstances wherein you will be forced to exhibit courage and presence of mind by risking your life. These world figures who have risen to eminence have utilized all opportunities to the best advantage. God shapes the minds of human beings by giving them opportunities. And this is a big one. We see this all the time. When we need help and we ask for help, help is given. But help is given by giving us an opportunity, not a solution. And the solution will be in the choices that we make in the opportunity. So if we say, "Dear Lord, please," and this is so important for you to hear, "please help me to overcome my anger," then God will give you something to be angry about. You have to see this. And you should laugh about it. Because if you laugh about it, you'll say, "I get you, dear Lord. Thank you so much."
So the temptation is to stop asking for things.
That's a temptation. But then you stop growing. And as soon as you stop growing, the suffering is so intense. And the seeds of suffering are so intense. When you stop growing, you feel stifled and stuck. And it's possible to get caught up in the pleasures and pleasure seeking. And you might find a situation in life where you're able to surround yourself with more pleasant circumstance, but then you stop. And really at that point, life stops as well. This we keep getting backwards, which is we take the pain that we experience in life as something bad, something wrong. But really, it's grace. We experience pain because we're being given an opportunity to transcend pain. Right? And of course, ultimately, transcending pain means knowing yourself. Yeah. And so, what most would call unfortunate circumstances are perhaps quite fortunate. When you recognize it's just about your thoughts. It's just about your thoughts. And whenever the thoughts attack you, then you can see, this won't do. This won't do. And you can apply, and we're just about to step into the tools, by the way, but you can apply the tools, you can come back to the breath, you can develop sadhana, you can take a different approach to life and change the thoughts. And as soon as you've changed them, you're free of whatever that reaction was. Whatever it was that you say was outside of you that caused anger, when you recognize it's inside and you apply the tools and you fix it, then what happened to the anger? It vanished, you see.
Yeah, it's been weird.
Yeah.
Keep wondering where it is.
Yeah, and then it's gone. And that's really the preparation. That's really what we're here doing. When we say working out our karmas, it's this. It's working out our limited tendencies, getting it out of the way so that we can recognize and realize. Because only with clarity of mind, only with purity, only with equanimity, and of course equanimity is constantly tested, right? You say to the Lord, okay, I have equanimity of mind, what's going to happen? Right. And so we're given opportunities to develop it. There's a beautiful quote from Yogananda, Paramahansa Yoganandaji. He says, a yogi, capital Y, one who's free, must be still in the midst of crashing worlds. And oh my God, what an opportunity we are being given in this time. Yes? As these are crashing worlds. Okay, just a little bit more and we'll close this chapter. He says, do not grumble, therefore, of bad environments. Create your own mental world and environments. That man who tries to evolve or grow in adverse environments will be a very strong man indeed. Nothing can shake him. He will be of sterner stuff. He will have strong nerves. Man is certainly not a creature of environments or circumstances. He can control and modify them by his capacities, character, thoughts, good actions, and right exertion, or purushartha. Tivra, intense purushartha, can change the destiny. That is the reason why Vasishta and Bhishma have placed purushartha above destiny. Therefore, dear brothers and sisters, exert, conquer nature, and rejoice in the eternal Satchidananda Atman. And then he closes with a little more discussion on thoughts forming the physical body. And we've discussed, he says, the body with its origins is no other than the thought. The mind contemplating upon the body becomes the body itself, and then enmeshed in it is afflicted by it. This physical body is the mold, as it were, made by the mind for its own enjoyment, for its outpouring of energy, and thereby gaining different experiences of this world through the 5 avenues or channels of knowledge, sense organs, the 5 jnana indriyas, the organs of knowledge or perception. The body is really our thoughts, moods, convictions, and emotions objectified, made visible to the naked eyes. All the bodies have their seat in the mind only. Without water, can a garden exist? It is the mind which transacts all business and is the highest of bodies. And this follows the 5 sheaths as well. We'll see the same, the Annamaya kosha being the lowest. So it's the mind transacting and then he reminds, with the majority of mankind, the thought is greatly under the control of the body. So what's the lowest chakra? We'll see the same in that concept as well. Sorry? Muladhara. So, and the Muladhara is affiliated with the body consciousness. So most of us, we don't rise from this. And what does that mean? When something happens to the body, we respond and react to that and care for that. So when the sex urge comes, we have sex. For example, we feel like, okay, I have to serve the body wants it. When the hunger arises, we find food. Yes? When pain comes, we focus all of our energy on fixing that pain or just dealing with that pain. And so we've become, and we are generally, shares, subservient to the body. All of these divine capacities we placed under the lowest aspect. Not meaning that the body's bad. Not meaning that. That's not meant. The body is divine. It's also essentially divine. But do we get serving the body-centered notions and ideas and feelings? He says their minds are very little developed. They live in Annamaya kosha mostly. And so what to do? What to do? And this begins the transition of what to do. What to do? Develop the Vīryamaya kosha, and through Vīryamaya kosha, the buddhi, control the Manomaya kosha. So this is what he says to do. Develop, purify, develop the conscious mind. Develop the rationating faculty. Really look at the situation and ask questions and develop it. And that's the beginning of the movement towards the practices that we'll pick up tomorrow morning. And control the mind. Control the Manomaya kosha. Take control of the mind and the body. Make the mind and the body the servants of the light. Through the Vīryamaya kosha, through the intellect, choose to put the light on the altar instead of the body and the ego sense. Yes? And that's what this hero journey or this transformation is about, of course, is this change. Okay. The erroneous thought that you are the body is the root of all evils. Through wrong thinking, you identify yourself with the body. Dehadhyasa arises. You're attached to the body. This is abhimana. Then mamata, mindness, arises. You identify yourself with your wife, husband, children, house, etc. It's identification or attachment that brings about bondage, misery, and pain. Okay. Questions or comments before we close? Okay. Thank you, Hari. And chapter 5, the development of thought power, is what we'll pick up from tomorrow morning. Questions? Nothing? Okay. Okay, let's close. We'll have short final prayer in Arati. We've got the special program this morning at 8 a.m. So, with Ashira. Okay. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivarnam Varvayurukmeva Vandanan Mrityur Mukshyaman Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivarnam Varvayurukmeva Vandanan Mrityur Mukshyaman Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivarnam Varvayurukmeva Vandanan Mrityur Mukshyaman Om Shānti, Shānti, Shāntihi. O adorable Lord of mercy and love, let us abide in thee forever and ever. Lord Sakura Shivananda Marriage Ki, for all the saints and sages of all the traditions. Okay, let's stand for our tea.